guys, got it running again. I was about to go out and make a pull with the draggy and with the full bottle, and then there's also like a meet. The guys are meeting up tonight. But first, like right out of the gate, I had to change the belt because you guys already kind of seeing that. See that edge right there? It's messed up. It was already kind of like that. Well, it like rolled over the side of the supercharger, and I kind of wonder if maybe it was like that the whole time, like since the last time I put this belt on. Maybe, I don't know. Either way, I put the other belt on it. Seems to be fine right now. I revved it up and down. It didn't try to jump off, so I think we're okay. I'm gonna go try and see if I can get a pull in with the draggy. Hopefully I can find some clear road, but we'll find out. Well, it improved. It definitely improved. It didn't improve as much as I was hoping it would, but the more I'm looking at the data, I think two things. The second run that I had that was a little bit slower, I was revving it higher and shifting later. So I'm thinking that I must need to shift earlier. Even though it's making more boost up there, it's probably laying over on the top because realistically, I mean, it is a stock K20, even though it has a supercharger on it. So revving to 8600 may not be what I need. Maybe I can bring it down a little bit. The other thing is I'm starting to think that this thing is aerodynamically challenged because it's really fast up to about 105, maybe 100, 110. No, I think it's 110. About all the way up to 110, pretty fast, like if you compare it to other people's numbers. But it's like the 110 to 130 mark is where it really slows down. So I'm thinking it might just be an aero problem because this thing is at stock ride height. It's all stock body, and they're not exactly that aerodynamic. I mean, the front windshield is like really straight up and down. So, yeah, that might just be how it is for right now. I think, I'm okay with that. I picked up a few spots on the local list, and I'm okay with that. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go get some fuel, and then I'm gonna go see what this meet is about tonight. I was on the way. And then it started making a weird noise, like a rattle noise. And now it's like, it's hard to, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, but I think it's coming from the clutch again. I honestly think I'm gonna pull the fucking transmission. I don't know. So the other thing that I just noticed, even though I changed the belt out, it's still trying to walk off the supercharger down there again. So I don't know what's causing the belt to walk off, but I've got that problem too. I am so tired of pulling this engine out. Oh my God. But it's gotta come out again. Oh. Okay, so yeah, obviously I've got it partially torn apart. So one thing I found, this bolt right in there that holds the bracket for the supercharger was completely out of there. It fell out, and it was stuck right in here between the block and this bracket. And I don't know if that's my rattle, but I do believe it's the reason for my belt alignment. You probably can't see that on the video, but tightening that down actually brought the supercharger like in quite a bit, and it actually angled it a little bit. So I'm thinking that's probably what's causing it to jump the belt off. Okay, so a couple things. I took the starter out, just kind of went in through there with a video scope and kind of tried to run it down past the clutch to see if I could see something, because to me it sounded like it was coming from the clutch. Running the video scope down there, you can definitely see there's some scrapes on the front of the pressure plate, so it's hitting something again, just like it was with that other pressure plate. I don't know what it's hitting. I don't know if maybe something loosened up or something got into there, because I don't have the flywheel cover on the bottom, because I don't have one. So maybe something got in there, or maybe something's loose. Either way, transmission's got to come off, which means the engine has to come out, which we already kind of knew that. I did notice, even though I tightened the belt down, or tightened that bracket down for the supercharger, I also noticed that when you look under it, like straight onto it, you can see that the belt is closer to the bracket on one side than it is on the other side. So I can't decide if either the crank pulley is too far in or if the supercharger is too far out. And I don't really think there's any adjustment on these supercharger brackets to really move them in and out. So maybe it's been like that the whole time. I don't know. I kind of tried to compare. I had another K20 pulley and a K24 pulley, and I tried to compare those. And they're pretty much the same. So I don't know if maybe there's something going on with this K20 pulley, since I've never really ran this one before. So maybe this one is shorter or something. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to pull it off, check it next to the K24 pulley, and see if there's a difference. If there's not, I'm going to have to try to figure out how to either move the supercharger in and out or maybe even space the crank pulley out. I don't know. I'm going to have to, once I get the engine out, I think I'm going to see what I can do about checking, straightness of all the pulleys and making sure everything's in line, because it could be multiple pulleys. I don't know. But at the moment, I can definitely see that between crank and supercharger there's something going on. So I guess I'm going to get to ripping this out. So I drained the oil in the engine and I drained the oil in the transmission. The engine, I'd say there was like no metal in there, nothing to be worried about. It was fine. The transmission had a little bit of powder, but like it's a manual transmission. Like they always have a little bit, not enough to really worry about. I don't know what's going on. I kind of thought maybe there was like a thrust bearing problem, because you can move the crankshaft back and forth just a little bit, but then I checked it on one of my other K series and it does the same thing. So I don't know. Obviously I don't have a way to check it. I don't have the right tool. So I don't know about that. The one thing that I did notice is, let's see if I can find it here. Is this the new one? No, it's this guy. Yeah. So if you look at this throwout bearing, it's hard to tell, but both of this tab on this side is bent quite a bit compared to the other side, and it was sitting in the on the fork pretty rough. You can see it like fuck the end of that thing all up. So I don't know if that was the problem, or I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense. I got a whole bunch of throw bearings. I got another clutch fork. I checked clearances, and they're all a little bit loose. Like this one's a lot more loose, but it's still a little bit loose. Like I don't know how that could possibly be the noise, but maybe. Because basically the noise that I was hearing it was like a rotational kind of clatter, rattle noise. And it would, like if the engine was cold, if it was like first startup, it seemed like it would do it. It would do it. It would do it every time. And then if I clutched it, it would go away. There'd be no noise. It'd stop. And then before, when it was like warm, at idle, you really couldn't hear it. You really couldn't hear it. Like if you kind of revved it, sometimes it would make it, sometimes it wouldn't. It was kind of intermittent. But if it was making it and you clutched it, it would go away. So I don't know. The clutch, I guess I'm going to pull it off of there. But realistically, I don't see anything loose. I don't see anything like visibly wrong with it, just looking at it the way it is. So I'm really at a loss here. I'm not sure what's causing this problem. Okay, so at this point, I put it back together. It's just gonna go back in the car. So I put a different clutch fork in there. I bent the tangs on that little throwout bearing back in. So it seems like it fits pretty good. Tighten everything up. I took the valve cover off. I checked the valve lash. I did find both of the center cylinders, intake and exhaust, were pretty damn loose. Like loose enough they would make noise. Not the noise that I was hearing, but it was an issue. The belt setup, I went over it with a straight edge, and as far as I can tell, everything's straight. It seems like it's fine. Even though like when you looked at it from underneath, it looked like the belt was closer here than it was there. I don't really know what the situation is, but with straight edge, and I had a laser in here and everything else, and I was checking with an angle finder, and as far as I can tell, everything's straight. So I mean, it's possible that maybe with this loose, with this cocked down just a little bit, that could have possibly made it come over that one rib. Maybe that's all it was for that. It's also possible that maybe because that was loose, maybe it was rattling on there. Maybe that was part of my noise, in addition to the valve train and then the you know, the throw-out bearing. I mean, it seems highly unlikely that those are causing that loud noise that I heard, but I don't know what else it could be. I'm at a loss. So at this point, I'm gonna put it back in the car and start it up and hope that the noise just went away. If not, I guess I'm gonna have to dig into it deeper, you know, and at least it'll be running so I can kind of figure out where the noise is coming from maybe, even though I did that already. So let's get it back in. Okay, it's back together enough to start it. There's no coolant in there, I don't have the axles in there. It's still partially torn apart, but it's got oil in it. It should be assembled enough to try it. Yeah, cross your fingers, hopefully this works. Well, seems to be a success. I don't want to get too excited because I haven't driven it yet, but before it was like, it made the noise like immediately. There's no noise at all, it's quiet, so guess we're gonna continue on putting it back together. Well, I don't know guys, it's still making the noise. I have no idea what it is. It goes away when you press the clutch in, and then it just has the normal twin disc chatter. It sounds like there's a bunch of rocks in my transmission or something at all times. But I don't know, maybe it just broke in and it's normal? I have no idea. I listen with a stethoscope, and you can hear it the best when you're on the clutch fork, or if you're like right near that area on the transmission. So it has something to do with the clutch for sure, but I don't know. Everything looked normal, so maybe it's just broke in now? I don't know. Okay, so driving it, it's definitely, something's messed up. There's no way this is normal. It can't possibly be normal because it's making it when you're making a pull too. I mean, it just makes everything, it just doesn't sound right. Like I don't know what it is, but something's wrong with it. So awesome. And to top things off, guys, I know you can't see that, but it jumped over a rib on the supercharger again, even though everything's straight. Should be good, but it's not. All right, guys. I started tearing into the Mini Cooper. I know it's been a long time since I've messed with it. I honestly was really pissed off with this car. It just everything keeps breaking, and nothing seems to want to work. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna put it in the back of the garage. Forget about it. We'll come back to it when I feel like it, and just mess with the exoset, which is what I've done. So now I have a little bit of motivation. I've got another clutch setup. We're gonna try throwing that in there because I ultimately came to the decision that the clutch is what's making this noise. It's the only thing that really makes sense because when I tore it apart last time, there was wear on that clutch fork, and you know, when you press in the clutch, it goes away. It has to be something related to that throwout bearing, fork, and the pressure plate. Like something is causing a rattle in there, and I don't really know 100% why it's doing that and why it decided to start doing it later rather than when I first put it in there. I don't know. But my solution at the moment is I'm going to put in just a stage 5, just a single disc with a lightweight flywheel, and see if that fixes the issue. If it does, we're just going to leave it in there and fuck this twin disc. I don't even want to mess with it anymore because, yeah, fuck that thing. The serpentine belt situation with it jumping over, I still have that problem. I haven't 100% figured out a solution for that yet. I have a couple ideas. One of the ideas is that I'm going to pull that tensioner assembly off, and I'm going to see if there's any way that I can modify it to lock it all the way, solid, so it doesn't move, and then I can adjust the tension with the top idler pulley. Otherwise, I might do like some sort of limiter in there if that's possible, so that it can't go back too far. Other idea is possibly I could just tighten the top idler tensioner pulley really, really tight so that it doesn't have a chance to come back. And then the other thing that I'm going to try is, I think initially, after I pull it off of there and get a good look at it, we'll see. But I might just swap the other pulleys because I didn't have any problems with the K24 pulley with the 120 millimeter supercharger pulley. And obviously I'm going to lose a lot of power doing that. But if it works, I'd rather be down on a little bit of power and just have it work and not have to worry about it than be screwing around with this thing all the time. I just want the car to work. So coolant strainer right now, bumper's off obviously. I'm gonna let it drain and I'm probably gonna come back to it this weekend, but for you it'll be like, you know, a few seconds. But we'll come back to it. We're gonna get it torn down, see what it looks like. But until then, let's dig into it. Okay, so it's back out for like the millionth time. You know, once again, like I saw last time, there's nothing really to look at. But this is what I think is making the noise. Because it's kind of that kind of noise. And you can see this pressure plate or this clutch fork moving around like while it's at idle. And then as soon as you press clutch in, it like stops moving because it puts tension in it. So I don't know if this is like touching the fingers or it's just rattling right here. I don't really know, but it has something to do with that throw bearing pressure plate setup. So yeah, we're just putting a different clutch on it, like I said. Okay, so this is a new one for me. That's the pilot bushing. I don't know if it just right now came off with the snout of the transmission or if it was like that. I don't think it was because last time I had it apart I would have noticed because I had the clutch assembly completely apart. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it could have been loose in there, I guess. I mean, maybe that was causing noise. I don't know. I mean, it still feels like a snug fit. I can't imagine that's it. I'm still putting the other clutch in. Okay, so here's a whole new game of what in the absolute fuck is going on. The flywheel welded itself to the crankshaft. Look at that. I have never seen this before. How the fuck does that even happen? It's like the... What? Okay, so I had time to think about it, and I think what happened is that the bolts that I was using to bolt this flywheel down, even though I measured them, I'm wondering if they were just a tiny bit too long, and because of that, even though it was tight, it wasn't completely tight. Like it was tight to the, like these bolts bottomed out in the crankshaft, but they weren't 100% tight on the flywheel. So maybe the flywheel was just barely moving back and forth just a little bit, and it got hot enough from the friction, and that caused it to do that. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. It's so crazy. Yeah, in any case, I went and I got a new rear main because the rear main was all dickered up. I used like a sanding disc, and I kind of brought these edges down. I kind of smoothed this out a little bit. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was, and I'm gonna try it. I went and picked up some more bolts from my buddy. I've got the correct bolts, so I shouldn't have any issues this time. We're gonna put it together, and well, hopefully it goes together. We'll see here in a second. Okay, so flywheels got bolted on there. Everything torqued down the way it should. I got the new pilot bushing in there. I'm gonna be using this XTD Stage 5. I know a lot of people are like, oh, fucking cheap clutches. Why would you use that piece of shit? Well, I've used these on so many builds, and they always work every time. And then I went to use a twin disc, and I had nothing but problems. So fuck that thing. Yeah, I'm gonna use this because I know they work. They kind of suck because they're always give you a really stiff pedal, but other than that, they hold the power. Okay, trans is back on. I will say this throw-up bearing definitely fits a lot tighter, not only on the overall like shaft of where it's supposed to slide onto, and then it fits better onto the fork. So that definitely makes me feel pretty good. Before I put the engine back in, I do need to repair these threads because the last time I put the engine in, this stripped out because, well, when you take an engine and trans out a million fucking times, the threads wear out. So got a helicoil kit. We're gonna fix that and get this bitch back in. Okay, we're ready to go in. I got that thing helicoiled. I will say it's probably not the best fix, but it might work. I did swap the pulleys out again, like I kind of hinted before. we're going back to, yeah, K24 crank pulley, 120 millimeter supercharger pulley. We're gonna try it out. Brand new Gates belt. So hopefully we're okay. We'll see if that works. I can still play around with the tension a little bit, try to give it a little bit more tension. If it still doesn't work, I may need to, like I said, do that carbonate coating on these pulleys. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, let's throw her in. All right, let's give it a shot. This might be the quietest I've ever heard it. Hopefully it stays that way. Well, things are still looking good. Drove it out of the garage. It's been sitting here running for quite some time, long enough the fans kicked on at least once. And there's still no weird noise, so I think we fixed that noise. It's nice and quiet, that's good. I mean, I know obviously part of it is because I'm not spinning the supercharger as hard, but it is nice that it's quiet. So now I just gotta finish this cooling system bleed, and then I can go drive it and see what it does. Well, driving around, drives great. Honestly, like the clutch is actually, it's pretty soft. Like the pedal isn't bad, especially since like I was actually able to reuse the clutch stops. Like I don't have to push it as far down as like I did with that stage 3 that I had. So it's actually pretty nice to drive. Like, and it's driving pretty good. I'm about to make a pull. We'll see, you know, how it does. See if that belt decides to jump, but I mean, for the most part right now, it seems pretty good. Let's find out. First pull, it did pretty good. The air fuels were off a little bit, which kind of doesn't surprise me, since obviously I changed pulleys. It was actually surprisingly a little bit lean up top, which, I mean, I know that I was having some slip issues, obviously, because the belt was shifting over before, but that's interesting. I had to take a little bit out in the middle, but yeah, we're gonna make another pull, see how it does, but so far it's doing pretty good. I checked the belt after that first pull, and it seems okay. I did make a second one. We're gonna make a third, and then I'll check it again, see what happens. Well, I checked again, still doing pretty good. Tune's getting a little bit closer. It's pretty damn close. Honestly, I made a very, very small change to make another pull. Check it again, check the belt again, because the belt still is okay. Check the belt again, then we'll probably make another final pull, and then just call it good for the moment. Until I decide to, I don't know if maybe today or maybe tomorrow, turn the bottle on, make some pulls on that, make sure everything was okay with that. But for the most part, I'm pretty happy with it. It's doing good. So that was interesting. I went to make a pull, and I heard like kind of a rattle, and then I heard a tink tink, and then I looked back and I saw something fly out on the road, and I was like, oh fuck, what did I lose? Well, I forgot to tighten the front frame horns, so there's that. I found got 3 out of the 4, so I tightened 2 of them down. I'm gonna have to take this one to the hardware store and get another one, because bitch is gone. I don't know what the fuck it went. So that's cool. Hey guys, I think that's gonna be it on this video. So this video is kind of a, I kind of put the car on the wayside for a while. So that's the reason I haven't had a video for a while. I was having so many problems with it that I was like, you know what, we'll come back to this. So it's part of the first video was actually from like a month and a half ago, and then the other part of the video was from a couple weeks later after that. And then, I had to split this video up. I'm gonna have to do another one because there's a lot more content that I couldn't fit all in this one. So there's a lot more issues, we'll say, that are coming, you'll see. But obviously at that time last month, the clutch was working, at the time, and that's good. It was working pretty good. As far as I knew, the supercharger belt was working, which it might not do that in the future. But at least I figured out that noise. The fact that flywheel was welded to the crankshaft was absolutely, that blew my mind. I've never seen that before. It's crazy, but that did solve the problem, so that's good. But stay tuned. I'm going to try to get this other one knocked out, get it all taken care of, and put it out within, the next few days after this one comes out. So hopefully it'll make all sense. Then we can get caught up to the currently what's going on. So yeah, let's see. This is Kevin. She's pretty tired. But yeah, stay tuned. Like, subscribe to the things, and peace out.